Today, Anchor held a livestream with a couple of announcements regarding Muv-Luv's future, and for the most part, they were pretty minor updates. I saw a few people hoping for an announcement of a third season of the alternative anime, or a Schwarzes Mark and Steam release, but they announced nothing remotely close to that scale. The last update they gave, however, was on Resonative, and it was pretty interesting. To give an overview of what they'd covered at the event, first up, as they had previously announced, there's going to be a collab between Muv-Luv Girls' Garden and Muv-Luv Alternative. It's set to start on October 28th. Next up, after a decade since the Muv-Luv Kickstarter, they announced that the Muv-Luv Trilogy iOS ports are coming soon at the price of 1,500 yen for Muv-Luv and 2,000 yen for Alternative. As for how soon, that is yet to be seen. During the anime's run, they had announced that they wanted to get the mobile ports out by the end of 2021, which they then delayed to spring 2022, and then delayed indefinitely beyond then. Within Muv-Luv Dimensions, they incorporated the mobile ports for the Muv-Luv Trilogy as well as Tetomoyu in-game, which was likely one of the main reasons as to why the mobile ports took so long to publicly release. Had they dropped them earlier, they would have eliminated the incentive for people to play Dimensions in the first place. So with Dimensions having reached end of service, it makes sense to drop the mobile ports now. After discussing the iOS port, they announced that the Switch ports of Muv-Luv Unlimited the day after, which were previously only available as a bonus with the Muv-Luv Odyssey box, are being released standalone on Switch. So you will be able to buy each episode on the eShop individually and in a bundle. Muv-Luv Tactics Kalidasa's Nightmare, meanwhile, is still in active development, and they are hoping to release the Steam version sometime soon. Last update we got was a month back or so, wherein they aimed to release it within spring of 2026. As compared with the crowdfund backers' early access version, the Steam port will include a normal difficulty mode as well as a free mode. And if we are to go off of earlier information provided by them, the Steam version should also come alongside both English and Chinese localizations. Afterwards, they announced that the remaining planned parts of the story of Muv-Luv Dimensions would be released in web novel format, which has now started serializing on the Muv-Luv series' website. Weirdly enough, you can even choose your character's own name. But yeah, for anyone who wanted to see Dimensions continued, there's that. They then concluded the stream with the opening for the 18+ version of Kimi no Uso Enhanced Edition, which is set to release this December. But as the stream was finishing up, everything glitched out to unveil that on December 30th, at the time of Comiket 107, they will unveil new details surrounding Muv-Luv Tactics Resonative and launch a Creators' Audition. First up, as I'm sure you can tell, they have tentatively renamed Muv-Luv Resonative, the finale to Muv-Luv Unlimited the day after, to Muv-Luv Tactics Resonative. As we knew from the announcement for the crowdfunding campaign for Muv-Luv Tactics Kalidasa's Nightmare, the next several main Muv-Luv games will likely not be conventional visual novels, as in today's market, they don't believe that they can recover their costs no matter what they do. Thus with Kalidasa's Nightmare, they were hoping to switch over to tactical RPG visual novel hybrids, somewhat like the Utaware Rumono trilogy. This would serve two purposes: to lower production costs by not having to cover action-related art and whatnot, as well as to attract a wider audience who wouldn't otherwise be interested in pure visual novels. Will this pivot actually work? We'll just have to see. But their intent is to release Kalidasa's Nightmare, Resonative, Duty Lost Arcadia, and then integrate in that order. Kalidasa's Nightmare is more or less a stepping stone to ensure that those releases can happen. I know a lot of people don't like the move from traditional visual novels to SRPGs, but I'm personally indifferent so long as the SRPG elements and the general story of the upcoming games are actually good. I suppose Kalidasa's Nightmare will be a good test run to see how Muv-Luv actually works in SRPG format. Next, on the note of the Creators' Audition, from what has been said by series producer Tororo, this would seem to be a recruitment call for people to help work on Resonative, and they will announce more details concerning this on December 30th. But at the very least, they are gearing up to get moving on Resonative work, which I suppose is a positive sign. As for when we could expect to see Resonative, Duty Lost Arcadia, and integrate, even if development is smooth sailing from here on out, I can't imagine we'll be seeing even just Resonative for another few years at least. It's kinda crazy to think about how long Resonative specifically has taken though. TDA 03 released back in 2013. It has been 12 years since then, and we still do not have a conclusion to the TDA storyline. At first they cancelled the TDA series for story reasons. Then back in the 2019 Still Breathing event, they had unveiled that TDA 04 was still happening. And then basically up until the end of 2021, we were still getting updates on the game's progress, which culminated in a trailer and a few new image boards at Comiket 99. But with the catastrophe that was the launch of Immortals, it seems as though all progress on Resonative and Integrate was halted then and there. Up to that point, Resonative had been written up to a second draft, and throughout the turbulent next little while, where they had reworked Immortals into Dimensions, I don't think anything was done on the main Muv-Luv projects, as is what they had suggested at the time of the Tactics crowdfund. It's nice to see development resuming, but wow, has this been pretty saddening to follow along over the years. I'm a pretty big fan of TDA, and I really did want to see its storyline come to a conclusion, especially given the big cliffhanger at the end of TDA 03. So if there's anything I'm especially looking forward to, it's Resonative. But my expectations are already so low, I'm kinda just used to waiting forever at this point. Nonetheless, I'll be sure to keep you updated on any major piece of news that may come up. Thanks everyone. Oh, stuck around to the end, have you? Well, welcome. As I'm sure you can tell, this is my first ever video covering content from the Muv-Luv franchise. And back in my Full Novel days, I used to be both their main Muv-Luv series specialist and SciDV specialist. But when I became a YouTuber, I was quite hesitant to start covering Muv-Luv and the Auditions as well, because my personal values are often quite different from those of the bulk of the Western Muv-Luv audience, and also because the series is so poorly mismanaged, it gets really depressing to think about. But with today's announcements, I figured that would have been a nice opportunity to cover some of it. So I guess that's a start, but please let me know if you'd ever like to see me cover more Muv-Luv or the Auditions as a whole. I have a lot to say about each entry. But for real this time, peace.